Okay. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. You know, constantly seeking to find, discover, or be given a solution to the problems that I and all humans experience is fine with me. I think about everything that we have to experience every day. I think about the stuff that we've learned about history as much as have been given to us and accepting it for whatever value we can get from it. I really think about some of the things that happened maybe as far back as the beginning as we have been given information. So, I believe in the scriptures, if you don't mind me going there. They talk about angels in heaven. What I want to do, if I can, when we talk about scriptural stuff, many people don't understand what's being said. And they trust into the interpretation of those who are lecturing or giving the message. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, and they're smart enough to see that it doesn't make sense. And even if it makes sense, they probably, if it has to do with God and religion, don't give it any value. Don't respect it because this is a norm. And that's the way we can conduct ourselves. But I was wondering, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to talk to people today, then it isn't necessary to use maybe the language of yesterday. If we understand that language well enough to know its significance today and what it is saying. And so you can say it today in the language that people hear who would never understand back those languages, but can understand it here today. So I was thinking of something that maybe I might be able to say that would kind of connect with our individual and collective ability to pick up on. And I was thinking about when Lucifer, that story in the scriptures, was walking around in heaven. They say Lucifer was wonderful. They was beautiful, fine dude, or whatever. And he would tell the angels basically the same thing that is always spoken of, that some are better than others. What he usually is doing is dividing. And so you have to put one against the other. And so you tell some that they're better than others, that they deserve more than others, that they're being cheated, and that you can change that. You can pick up on that, make things right. And that's what he was walking around telling the angels who had everything they needed, everything they wanted, everything they even desired at that time. They didn't know that they were just satisfied without any question. I'm just satisfied. I'm just satisfied. Now, when someone come around and start fibbing to you, lying to you, tricking you, and if you become vulnerable to that, and some people are, at least those angels were, at least I heard a third of the heavenly host fell for that crap. But I also understood, based upon that story, that it was not permitted to exist there. And so he, Lucifer, and all of that hosts that bought into that crap were kicked out. Now, where did they go? I heard, according to this story that I'm sharing with you so that you might understand, is that God made bodies, physical, material bodies, because they were spirits. The angels kicked out of heaven, Lucifer were spirits. And they were kicked out here. And they were given material, physical bodies. Physical bodies. Now, you can see that. You can see crookedness. You see it all the time. Corruption in people. And hey. So that's what they were given. Crooked bodies. Why? They weren't worthy to live in heaven. They were kicked out and put here in physical bodies for what purpose? To live the kind of life that they chose to live. They didn't want to live the heavenly life. They didn't want to live the life without pain and suffering. They didn't want to live the life that their needs, wants, and desires were met. No, they did not want. So they were kicked out, given bodies to live right here, to live just like they want to live. Lying and cheating to one another, stealing to one another, creating hate and racism and bigotry, all of that stuff. One another. Game playing. Some pretending to be better than others, deserve more than others, messing over others, poverty, crime, and violence. All that stuff exists right down here in this hellhole. Right down here in this hellhole. Now, what is beautiful about this is that though you're here in this hellhole living a life that you've chosen to live, the purpose of that is so you can compare this life with the true life. Now, when I say true life, the story indicates that you have after going through so much stuff, you have a remembrance of what you missed somewhere down the line, or of what you desire, because it's not happening. And because of that hunger, that motivates you, that drives you, that pulls you to a certain way. So when you say now you're in the body, but you don't like the world you're living in, you're changing. Your mind is being renewed. Your activities are changed. You're not just going along with life the way the normal stuff is, because you know what that's all about. What you're doing now is the kind of life that would change as if you were in heaven, as if you were in paradise. And by doing stuff like this, what you're actually doing is this is how you glorify God. This is how you glorify God, by waking up, learning the truth, and walking according to that truth. God is praised, and you do this. That's praising God. Singing and all that other kind of stuff doesn't mean anything beyond, or I won't say it doesn't mean anything. Perhaps it does. But that which matters is the one that is significant to change. And that is why you're here in these bodies, to change. Now, we were given a story. Somebody talking about what do you mean they change? What are limitations? Now, the story tells us of a man that came through earth named Jesus. And Jesus walked, according to the story, I think you might be familiar with this, like he could do what he wanted to do, and did. Taught the truth, walked the truth. And what did it get him? The government and those who were religious talking about God couldn't stand him. Why? Because he wasn't playing the game of the system. He was being real. Real. And by being real, what did he do? It led him to the cross. What did that mean? They did not want him here. If they could not control him, they did not want him here. Now, what does that say to you? What did it really say? Well, let's just tell you what it meant to say. It meant to tell all the people on earth how they've been tricked. Because wherever you are, you feel oppressed in comparison to the story that you understand of Jesus. You can't touch that, as far as you know. But really, Jesus was saying you can. That's the stuff that you are of, but you lost it. He was reminding you that you do have it and what it enables you to do. But what it also is reminding you is that this is no game. This is real. And so when Jesus went to the cross, he went to that cross because this is the true message of it. Once you are, excuse me, they don't want me to tell you. Once you know the truth, you're liberated from the lie. You don't have to walk according to the lie any longer. So this is why you make that change. And when they put you on that cross, Jesus is saying, this is the key to heaven. This is the key to heaven. You were kicked out of heaven and lived in a body because you were unfit for heaven. And you lived amongst your kind, doing what you all wanted to do. And it has taken you to the point that you said, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And you're willing to lay your life on the line to change things or get out of there. Now, what does that mean? Let me give another example. You remember the story about the prodigal son? The prodigal son who believed that he was so magnificent. They were already great, prosperous, cool, you know what I mean? But he felt that he could make his own mark. Give me mine. Let me go out into the world and be somebody. Let me be a Musk or something. Just give me mine. And so he got his. He got it. He's been convinced that he's better, that he deserves more, entitled to more. So he's going to get it. And he goes out there and he does what he feels is the thing to do. Goes through all kind of changes. To make a long story short, they end up with the story saying that somebody had been reduced to the level of eating slop with hogs. With hogs. That's the people who could recognize, because they are searching, because they are beginning to purify their hearts, then they can begin to see. So this one says, I remember at home, at my father, man, things sure was nothing like this. I mean, it was really dandy there. And look at me now. I'm going back. What is that saying? That is you who have lived on this earth, watched slavery, watched the people suffer from slavery, watched those people beat, the whole story. All the sin and stuff that's been going on down here in hell. Now these people have changed and said, nah, it doesn't matter. I'm discontinuing my allegiance to that. And then start speaking truth to power. Standing in the middle of the dark America, standing in the middle of dark hell, speaking the truth to every liar, every scoundrel on this earth. Gloriously glorifying God. Walking according to what he's saying. Praising God. And you the people, observing it for whatever benefit it has, who knows? This one has been born again and is free from the dictate, the clutches. Now you've been told that, no, it's nothing like that. You've been told that all you have to do is believe. You came on this earth, messed up. There's nothing you can do. You can't earn your trip to heaven. You can't do nothing like that. It's a gift. So you just believe. And if you believe and speak as though you believe, then you are forgiven. And your dumb tail who have not learned one thing gonna be let back into heaven. Like God, stupid. No, my friend, you don't even want heaven. You don't want heaven. No, you don't even know anything about him but a bunch of junk. When you know the truth, you can't help it. You can't help but glorify God. You just can't help it. Why? Because of what you represent. God is a bunch of big ball of love. And you become a big ball of love. There are those that's going to eat you up. And there are those that's going to hate you. Doesn't make any difference. You are you. You are representing God. Your actions is representative of God to those that love you. Your actions is representative of God to those that hate you. Why? Because you are the example. See, the story is that you are above all this other stuff. This is why everybody hates you. Everybody who really craving that power. Because you're not craving power. You're telling people and pointing people to where the power is. But anyway, the prodigal son went back and said, Father, I'm coming back. The father said, I'm glad to have you. So the people who were, and angels who were kicked out of heaven, they learn, change their mind, and they die loving God. And they end up back in heaven. This God, we're so sorry for what we did, but we don't thank you so very much. We learn the truth. We learn what it's like, and we appreciate it, and we'll never do anything like that again. And so because there can always be some Lucifers, always tripping around somewhere, trying to con someone. And if you have not learned the truth, one time you might have just thought and didn't have no idea that somebody's going to sucker punch you like that. But they did. So the next time you're watching, and it's not going to happen, especially if you learn that you don't want to have anything to do with it. So ladies and gentlemen, I think I'll leave that with you. What I really wanted to say is that people who are walking around our country, our friends, our brothers, our sisters, and mothers and fathers and uncles and cousins, they got a message that's deceiving them. They got a message telling them that just because they go to church, just because they read the Bible, just because they listen to a preacher, just because they pray sometimes, that they are pleasing God and that they are on good standing with God. Somebody need to tell them, I'm glad you think that way, but I got to tell you, you are deceiving yourself. God is not impressed. If you love God, then prove it by loving people. You're not loving people. I'm doing this. That's not loving people. Loving God means you know the truth and act like it. Let me say that one more time. Loving God means you know the truth. See, if you don't know the truth, you're still missing it. If you don't find yourself excited about representing truth, if you don't find yourself excited about representing and glorifying God, it's simply because you don't know what you're talking about. That's the evidence. You can be wishing, you can be wanting, you can try to psychoanalyze anything. But if you don't feel the joy of it, it's telling you you don't have it. Now, what does it take to get it? Be real. That's all I can say. Be real. God is real. You real, you know real. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your moment. I hope this little analogy that I shared with you will do something positive. I want to thank you again for your moments. Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for you. Bye-bye.